I like to joke I came out of the womb kicking and screaming that I just wanted to be on stage. I unintentionally and organically started building a fan base, which then led to people being like, when are you going to put out original music? And I'm like, I'm an actress from New York. People give me scripts. I'm flattered you think I could be a recording artist, but like, that's just not what I do. That's not a world I'm in. So one day, I shared a cover and we tagged Meghan Trainor, and Meghan herself had reshared it. And she had said, everyone like, follow Carolyn Miller, a girl can sing. I woke up one morning with an extra 3,000 Facebook followers or something. I was like, what? And it was like, Meghan Trainor tagged you in a post. And I was like, oh my God.
Carolyn Miller is a country singer from Long Island, New York. She got her start acting at a young age, with shows like Law & Order SVU and various off-Broadway productions being a part of her resume. Amid her journey as a country singer, CMT spotlighted her as a Next Up Now artist, and the Nashville Songwriters Association International named her one to watch. She's also shared the stage with some of country music's biggest names, including Carrie Underwood, Sam Hunt, Lee Brice, and the Eli Young Band. As part of the Dory Jackson Interview, Carolyn Miller opened up about her newly released self-titled EP, navigating the country music scene, and life as a mom.
First off, Carolyn, I'm so excited to be doing this with you. I literally have not seen you face to face in years. I think since I went to Nashville and hosted the Winwood Country thing for your company. But
has it been that long?
I think so. We've tried to like hang out since I've like come to Nashville a few times, but it's yeah,
crazy. Well, here we are. We love that.
Yes, I know. It all works out how it needs to, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. But yes, I had to let people know. Well, actually, they don't know the lore of how we met. So let me explain that.
Yeah, fill them in. Fill the people in.
Yes. So I met Carolyn at the CMA, or not CMA, CMT Fest. Or
no, CMA Fest. CMA Fest.
It was something with Maddie and Tay, and then our friend Sasha was there. And then,
CMT, Next Woman of Country at Gramercy Theater.
Yes, because I knew Juliet, who's a really close friend of yours, and I used to work with her back in the day, and so it was like, that's how we met, and we've been in contact since then, and it's just a crazy little world, and that was such a fun little event, too.
Yeah, it was great. I feel like good girl energy just finds each other, and we did, and we were like, we should hang, let's be friends. And like me and Dory, like we hang, like we chat, like we go out for dinner and drinks, like we're friends too besides this. So this is fun to like do something now together.
Yes. Well, you know, beyond that, I want to start with just kind of the beginning of your journey, just to allow people to know a little bit more about your backstory and stuff I didn't even know, because I knew that you did acting, but I didn't know exactly what that looked like exactly. Yeah. So I know you had a role on Law & Order SVU and some off-Broadway stuff, and you voiced as a narrator for a PBS Kids show, which is really cool and very niche. Like, I love that for you. So yes, no, I love it. I have like a weird connection. We can talk about that later. But how did you get into acting in the first place? And did you kind of always feel like you were destined to perform in some way, shape, or form?
So I like to joke I came out of the womb kicking and screaming that I just wanted to be on stage. My parents tell stories of how when I was 3 weeks old, they'd be rocking me, they'd be like, blah, blah, blah. And my mom always said, this kid's going to be a singer, as a joke. And then it just like everything in my life kept leading itself that those were actually very fair observations from an early age. But, you know, I love to sing. I love to dance. I love to act. I started doing just like dance like a normal 3-year-old girl, you know, that likes to jump around and twirl and sing, you know, whatever. So I did that. And then from there, I started doing like the musical theater classes at my local dance studio, where we got to then like sing a song from Annie while we danced, you know, and I like loved that. And then it led to me doing community theater, like children's theater, which I loved. And then when I was like, maybe first grade or whatever, I can like remember coming home and crying and like watching TV and being like, why are those kids on TV? I want to be on TV. And like my parents were like, I don't know, like they're, you know, so they just realized, okay, this is a kid that clearly is just born with this passion and this bug and this love for it. Let's figure out what to do. And I'm very lucky I grew up 45 minutes outside of Manhattan, which of course is the showbiz capital of the world. And so my parents started bringing me into Manhattan for open calls and just like auditions. And I got a manager and agent at a very young age. So then once I had my representation, then I was like going in for like real projects and like big things. So I kind of grew up doing like film, TV, commercials, theater, voiceovers. I was a member of Screen Actors Guild, Actors Equity, and AFTRA, which is now SAG-AFTRA, before I had even gotten to college, And there was even the conversation like, do I go to college? Do I just move out to LA for pilot season? And I just like, I've been doing this my whole life. I knew this was going to be my whole life. I wanted to just be like a normal, like I wanted the college experience because I knew this was a thing that like you're never going to get back if you don't do it. And I wanted to move away and I wanted to just like, be a normal kid and figure out like who I am and all those things. So I went to college, but I knew I was going to major in musical theater. Like it was never a question of what I was going to do. It was just like, do I further my education or just keep continuing to work professionally? So I ended up going to the Boston Conservatory, which is now part of Berklee College of Music. I got a BFA, a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in musical theater. Came out of that program, which is an incredibly competitive, unbelievable, program. And I just, was continuing to work professionally in showbiz. And then for the first time in my life, because I didn't have like school during the day and then like auditions or filming or rehearsals or whatever at night, now I had a completely wide open calendar as a 22-year-old college graduate where yes, I had projects. Like
Sure.
I narrated Zula Patrol and I did these things, but like that would be a few hours a day and then you'd come home, or like that a contract on a show I'd be in would end and then you're auditioning for the next thing. So I honestly ended up just getting bored in my downtime because I'm someone that loves the go, 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 fast pace. I think it's the New Yorker in me and just being a kid that juggled a million things growing up. So I turned to YouTube as a creative outlet purely as a way to express myself artistically. I hated having my power in someone else's hands. Like I was only on stage singing when I was cast in something. And there were times I'd lose out on a role because I'm 5'9", not 5'2", or I was brunette and not like fair skin and blonde, or like all the different reasons why, you might lose out on a role, which is just part of the biz. But I was like, F this. I need to be singing. I belong on stage. I'm not going to sit around and wait for that. So I turned to YouTube, uploaded a few covers. I like to describe it as like, when a dog's laying down sleeping and then they hear something like they like go and that like ear perks up. That was, Dory, that was exactly what had happened to me with these covers because I unintentionally and organically started building a fan base, which then led to people being like, when are you going to put out original music? And I'm like, I'm an actress from New York. People give me scripts. Like, I don't, like, that's flattered. You think I could be a recording artist, but like, that's just not what I do. That's not a world I'm in. And, with every cover I did, it just kept like getting to me a little bit further. And so one day, I shared a cover and we tagged Meghan Trainor, and Meghan herself had reshared it. And she had said, everyone like follow Carolyn Miller, girl can sing, or something like that. So I woke up one morning with an extra 3,000 Facebook followers or something. I was like, what? And it was like, Meghan Trainor tagged you in a post. And I was like, oh my God. And there was this real now thing that was starting to happen where I was like, I'm loving what this world is. I don't know a damn thing about it, but like, let's see, what's behind door number 3 kind of thing. And so I met a producer and he sort of took me under his wing and helped me put together like a little EP project back in 2018. But for me, what was really fascinating was I was coming into this world as a complete like pro showbiz, like professional veteran of the stage for 20 plus years. I knew how to sing well. I knew how to perform. I know how to like take care of myself, discipline, work ethic, all those things. But I knew nothing about the music business. So it was kind of backwards. Most people come in and they don't learn, they build their skill set as they go. I was coming in with this like pro skill set, but I didn't know the difference between a mix and a master and like, how to advance a show, which is basically like when you get the logistics with a venue before a show, like all the basic 101 things. I'm like, I wasn't used to doing my own sound. I'd go to the theater. They'd have a sound crew and a set designer and a this. When you're the artist, especially the early independent days, you're coming in and doing everything, yourself. So I was like, okay, if I want to be taken seriously, I need to start going to Nashville. And country music, I loved. It was it for me. And I went to every writer's round I could to just watch. I would try to talk to as many people as I can. I'd go sit at the bar alone at like a music event to just like observe. And I would take notes on my phone of like, did they open with a up-tempo? Did they go to a ballad? Where in the set did they start talking? Where did the breaks happen? Like I would like sit there like this, taking all my notes. Slept in motels all over the city, crashed on friends' couches, the whole nine. And just brick by brick and month by month, just kept building it up, building it up, building it up. And so, it's been a few short years now since I like really started this whole entire thing. But I think I've been able to move at a faster pace because of what my background has previously been.
There's so much I can ask you based on what you just told me, because I had no idea about the Meghan Trainor cosign. Like, that's insane. Like, how do you just wrap your head around that in that moment?
It was definitely wild because I woke up and I just saw like I had like a couple thousand extra followers. It was like between 3,000 and 5,000 extra followers, and I was like, "What?" And then it was like Meghan Trainor tagged you in a post, and I was like, "Oh, that was years ago," but still, it was enough for me to like now all of a sudden have a little bit of a fan base. It wasn't a big one, but I had now several thousand people following me, and then they were asking like, "When are you going to put out your original music?" And when are you going to, and it's just like the little like God winks that just kept telling me like stay down whatever you're doing and just see this through.
Yeah, it's trusting those God winks too, because sometimes you're like, wait, is this really what you want me to do? Are we sure? And how do you not let fear get in the way of that,
Oh my gosh, I will tell you like one of the craziest stories, and I don't think I've ever shared this in an interview before. Dory,
Okay.
you have a way of pulling it out of your people, I'll tell you. No, but like there was one day, this was like years ago, maybe this was like right before COVID, when I was just starting this whole thing, and I was like, I'm not like this over religious person where I'm like, always, talking to God. Probably God a little more than I do. But like there was this one day I was just like down in the dumps, and I was like, God, like, hi, it's me, Carolyn. Like, hi, are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. It was like, are you there, God? It's me, Carolyn. Like, hey, what am I doing? Like, is this like, should I don't know. I feel lost. Like, da da da. Like, I literally had this like out loud praying moment that I was very rare for me. And I share that more because I think there's a sign of encouragement on the other side of this. Like, I literally had this like out loud moment. And I finally just like got myself together after, and I was like, all right, I need to go to bed and like whatever. And I opened my phone, and there was a Facebook message from someone I had graduated high school with years before. They had not spoken to for, it wasn't even like an old friend. It was someone like that, passed each other in the hallway kind of thing. And it was this whole paragraph about how like there's something special here, you have to keep going, I've been following you from like the outskirts, I see everything you're doing, don't ever stop what you're doing. Like the hair in my arm sticks up talking about this because it was everything that I was questioning and praying about was in a message typed within 10 minutes of like having this like, God, what am I doing moment.
That's crazy.
So crazy. And I'll never, ever, ever forget that. And to your point, it's like those are the things that, when on those bad days, you think back to that and you're just like, no, like I have what I need to keep going,
Well, tell me a little bit more about where that love for country music came from, because yeah, we wouldn't be here right now if you didn't pursue that. And so tell me.
Yeah. Well, it definitely started when I was a young girl and I watched Carrie Underwood on American Idol. I truly, like, no pun intended, idolized her. And here's why. At the time where I grew up, it was NSYNC, Backstreet Boys, Christina Aguilera, Britney Spears, right? That whole thing. We're millennial girls here. And so loved Britney, had all her CDs, danced around my face off to everything of hers. But as a vocalist, I wasn't really that like, oh, baby, baby. Like it wasn't the thing. And then Christina, and then Christina was like this like riffing queen and like had the range and like I could sing those songs, but like I wasn't the riffer. You know what I mean? I was more like that powerhouse, like classic sort of. So I was like stuck. So when Carrie came on, everything she sang was like, that is like what I sound like. That is the kind of music I want to make. The class, the glamour, the elegance, the poise, the feminine, like the beauty, like everything was just like, this is who, as an artist, everything I aspire to be. In the finale on American Idol, she partnered with the Rascal Flatts and sang Bless the Broken Road. That was my go-to like Broadway audition song that got me like really close to like Broadway shows in the very end multiple times. And she sang Alone by Heart for like 80s rock. I then covered that song because I discovered it through her singing it. And then that became like my 80s rock thing that like got me like pretty like this close to like booking like a million different things. And so she always was someone that I followed. I listened to every one of her albums. So, and then anyone she partnered with, I then discovered further through there, who was on tour with her. That when I was in college, I also had a roommate who grew up in the Deep South, and she only listened to country. And so I started like hearing it a little more and getting more into like, oh, okay, Jason Aldean's pretty cool, and I like Luke Bryan, and like, you know, it's the new wave of country, because I didn't grow up with country radio. We just didn't have it up here in New York. And as I really then got into the genre, I was like, it's not that stereotypical banjo fiddle traditional country sound, which is what up here our perception of country music was, and still a little bit is, but we're like breaking that down now. But like, you know, you just, it was like eye opening to me. And then I was just like, the more I got into it, I was like, these are like the best storytellers in the world. This is authenticity. This is like really genuine artists and singers and music. Yes, there were some like beats and fun production thing, but at the end of the day, it was all about the storytelling and the music and everything. And coming from that theater world and acting world, obviously I love to tell a story. I really wanted to get on stage and sing my face off. And country was just doing it so well in this pop crossover kind of way. 2019 is kind of like where I'm talking about 2020, right? So, you know, I just saw Sam Hunt at Madison Square Garden with Mary Morris. I was like, how do I get on these stages with these people? You know, that was the vibe. And so I just realized like maybe there is a spot for me in this industry when I didn't think there was. And yeah, here we are.
And Carrie is such a good storyteller with her music, and I think that's why I've loved her music so much. Like Ghost Story. Is that what it's called? Ghost Story? Or am I losing my mind?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. But yeah, you've shared the stage though with Carrie and Sam Hunt and these people, which is like, oh my goodness, like it's kind of a full circle thing for you. So do you have any memories from those experiences that stand out, like a meeting with Carrie or anything?
So at the shows with Carrie and Sam, like we were kind of like ships passing in the night. Like I was like one of 6 artists, I think, on that bill, and I was like the opener, like the very, very beginning. So, you know, we didn't like cross paths a whole ton there. She did wave to me as she was being golf carted to the stage to go perform for like 40,000 people. And like walked by, she was just like, oh my god. But you know, I remember Lee Brice. I love to tell this story because Lee, even before I started being an artist, was always me and my husband's like one of our favorite country singers. Like we would see Lee Brice when he would tour through the area on like Valentine's Day, and like a 30th birthday present I got him. We went to go see Lee Brice. And someone was like, oh, I got these free meet and greets. Do you want to go meet Lee? And I was like, sure. And I'm not that person that's like, I got, you know, I've been around celebrities my whole life as an actor
Sure.
and whatever. So it's not like I'm like, you know, fighting to get my way into a meet and greet. But I was like, yeah, sure, we'll go say hey, what's up? Like, we love him. It's fun. So there's a picture of like me and my husband and Lee, just a meet and greet, whatever. And then like 2 or 3 years later, I got to open for him. And it was just me and him on the bill. So it was just the two of us. We sold out the Stone Pony Summer Stage in New Jersey. And then I got to even sing I Hope You're Happy Now with him, his big duet with Carly Pierce. I was doing a little photo shoot like right before I walked on stage. You know, you're all glam and all the artists, you take pictures like before you do your sets. So you have like tour photos to show. And I'm like taking pictures, I'm like turning my hair and I'm like smiling, you know, posing, my photographer's doing it. And I just hear this voice behind me. He's like, excuse me, I don't mean to interrupt golden hour. I just wanted to like say hello. And meanwhile, it was Lee. He came over to just like introduce himself and say hey and be like, look, I'm looking forward to singing with you. Because we did this song with no sound check. We never met. It was like not even a thing. It was just like, I'm trusting you're gonna know it kind of thing. And we crushed it. And it's like one of my favorite like life memories. And then after we were on his tour bus and it was just me, my husband and Lee and just talking about like life and family, and he was going deep sea fishing the next day. And I remember just sitting there and being like, the girl that's just been in this crowd so many times, was a random girl on a meet and greet line, and now being here. And, you know, those are the moments that I think you just like, everyone has a different perception of making it, right? But that's a moment where I'm like, I made it. Like, I just literally opened for and sang with my favorite artist, and we're hanging out now.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And we need to talk about what we're really here to talk about, which is the EP that's coming out August 21st. I feel like going with the self-titled route, like having your name as the title, that's such a big statement in and of itself. And so what was kind of the intention behind that for you? And what are you all overall hoping to say with this EP?
Yeah. Oh, such great questions. No wonder you're so great at your job. So good. Being from Long Island, where I didn't, Long Island, right? Where I didn't grow up necessarily on country music. I came into it quite a bit later, and I had a lot of learning to do about country music and the history of country music. And then also having a background as an actress and musical theater and all these things. And then being like older, right? Like I started this like right after I'd just gotten engaged. You know, I'm in my 30s. I had never gone to Nashville before I was 30 years old. Like I started this whole thing a bit late. So I had so many things on paper working against me you know, for anyone chasing this dream, you'd be like, it's hard enough as it is. Now you add like all these other things. You're like, what are you doing? But I believe where there's a will, there's a way. If someone else can do it, why can't you? And I stand by the motto that no dream is too big. I really, really, truly believe all those things, regardless of whatever profession you're in or whatever you want to do in your life. Just was like, you know what? I need to own who I am, own what my story is, not try to hide the musical theater background and not try to hide that I'm from New York. And I think in the early days when I'd go into meetings, people would be like, well, if you really took what you did seriously, you'd move to Nashville. And I'm like, I'm in Nashville for 1 to 2 weeks every single month for the last 3 years. Like, I want to be like, you can track my track record. There's a reason I have these relationships, and everything that I'm doing, I did on my own independently. So every one of these festivals, every artist I've opened for, everything, whatever, I've done it all myself. So it's not like I'm just saying I want to do this and not putting my money where my mouth is. I am. You know, I was trying to then shy away from like saying I lived in New York. Technically, I just sort of pretended I lived in Nashville, and then I was shying away from my theater background because someone told me people are going to have a preconceived notion of what you're going to sound like if you say you sing like Broadway and theater. And so I kind of let that go. But I'm like, you know what? No, that's why I'm such a powerhouse vocalist. That's why I don't burn out my voice. That's why I can do a lot of like really challenging songs and big things. Like, I started to just embrace these other sides. So as I started going into working on this EP and like writing everything, I just was coming from a place of like, I'm just going to own my truth and like every piece of my truth. I'm going to allow those New York influences to be in here and those pop rock sounds. And like, I grew up, like, I love like the 2010s pop for females, like the old school Kelly Clarkson stuff or whatever. And I'm like, I'm going to let those influences come through in the music. And then when I was thinking about like my photo shoot again as an independent artist, like I'm also the creative director of everything. And I'm like, I just want something that says fierce, strong female. Like, I think I want a gold backdrop. I always wear shorts and like a denim fun jacket. I want a black denim jacket. And as I was doing all this, I was like, I'm just like taking ownership of every piece of who I am. I'm like, this is just, there's no other title for this EP because everything is exactly what I want to say. It's a true story of what I've lived. And this is the best presentation that if someone who's listening to this or someone in general just doesn't know who I am and is listening, who's Carolyn Miller, and they search on Spotify for the first time and something comes up, I want them to take this project and listen to it. And I feel like I'll be really proud to be like, this is who I am. You can love it. You can hate it. But like, this is Carolyn Miller.
Honestly, the cover art eats. It's so good. But also so is the EP in general. Like, I really like American Heartbeat a lot. And then I'll Always Be another really good one because it's like ballady and it really, you can really hear your vocals shine on that one.
Thanks.
What for you is the song that you're most excited to perform live? Because I know you have a show coming up in New York. So yeah, what are you thinking about in terms of that?
It's funny that on the EP, 3 of the songs I wrote and then 3 of the songs are actually outside cuts. And I always love to tell people, my listeners, fans, whatever, friends, industry, like, I want you to listen to it and I want you to guess the 3 that I wrote and the 3 that I cut. And if I did my job well, you'll probably have them wrong. You know what I mean? Because, and what I mean by that is like, because they all should be that way, that you won't know the difference. You know, you don't want it to sound like 3 completely different sounds, you know? And my acting background is like, I'm used to getting a script and saying, make something of this and put your truth in it. So as long as I can connect to it on a personal level, it's all fair game for me. And so, with these songs, I think each thing offers something special. I say all that to, I'm giving like really long answers, but I'm really fired up about this conversation. But I share all that because, each song has a little bit of a different piece of my heart for different reasons. American Heartbeat is a favorite of mine too. Cause again, like I was saying, no dream is too big. You can do anything you want, set your mind to. And I think American Heartbeat really speaks to that. So I connect with that on just that side. I'll Always Be, you brought that up, is one of my favorites. That one I actually wrote, and I wrote it while I was pregnant. We didn't know what I was having, if I was going to be having a boy or girl. I was convinced I was having a boy. And on this writer's retreat, I just kept talking about like daddies and daughters, and my co-writers were like, I think you're having a girl because all you do is keep talking about this. I'm like, no. Well, lo and behold, I had a girl. So I think that song just came from the heart at a place like, I didn't know what was going to lie ahead of me. She woke up this morning. I have it on the monitor. I screen recorded it because I was like, I have to save it. She woke up belting out the words to I'll Always Be in her crib this morning.
Oh,
so that one might be my favorite because I also bring her on stage sometimes to sing it with me at concerts.
Oh.
So I would say that one too.
That will come down. So you will now, baby.
At this point, are you kind of thinking about what's next in terms of, hey, we're going to do a full-length album next? Or are you kind of just like sitting with this EP for now and kind of just enjoying this moment?
Yeah, I think you know, it's when you're an independent artist, it's a lot of work to get anything off the ground, and it takes like every bit and piece of you. You know, you're always thinking about what's next. So I've got a few other songs like I'm working on, a few other ideas for some things. You know, I'd also love to one of these times do like a Christmas album is something I, you know, dream of doing. We've also like we've had some amazing live shows. We've recorded the audio, so maybe even doing like a live version of the songs to release would be pretty cool. I tend to, for whatever reason, the wedding songs I write do really well on TikTok and people use them for their weddings all the time,
Yeah,
which is cool. So
that's
I'm
a
thinking,
compliment.
maybe doing like a wedding EP and including some of like, and then covering a love song or two of my favorite ones. I have a lot of ideas, but we'll kind of just see where it goes and go from there. But
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. And I have to ask you, go back to the daughter thing, because that is something that I remember when you were pregnant. So I'm like, I was along the journey a little bit from afar. So it's like really like sweet to be on the other side of this with you, hearing, your motherhood stories and all of that.
yeah.
So, how has motherhood overall been treating you so far? I know a little bit, but let's let the people hear.
Yeah, it's the most amazing thing. It's like if it's something you want and you're ready for, it is the greatest thing you'll ever do in your life and in the world. She's gonna be 2.5 tomorrow, Wednesday, the 12th, 2.5 this week.
Wow.
Crazy, so crazy. It's so rewarding. And that first year I had her, I really slowed down a lot. I kind of just was taking in being a new mom and getting used to the new normal and what this new normal would look like and how I'd navigate a career and, still being a very present mother. And now as she's gotten a little bit older, I feel like I've got a grip on what the possibilities are, like how much I'm really able to give to this and how I can give it and what works for my family and, different things like that. But, it was never an option to me that once I had her, I was going to stop. It was more just like, you have to just refocus and reprioritize and you juggle it a little bit. But I had a friend who said this once to me, and I thought this was like something that reassured me so much with like the whole like moving forward with having a family. Was she said artists go through seasons, right? Like you have like your deep writing phase where you're off the road and you're writing all the time for your projects and you're doing your thing, right? Then you're in the studio working on it. Then you get ready and you're doing all the press and the promo and you're releasing the album. Then you might be like touring on that album, right? And then you come off the tour and you go back to the studio. It's like this like thing that keeps going, and like you're in seasons constantly. And she was like, we have artists all the time, like if they get pregnant and have a baby, we just shift what their season is. So their touring is not going to happen here, but
Yeah.
that's when they can do like their writing and their recording, and then they could do like this year. And I was like, that's so true. Like you're not really doing everything at one time all the time. You are kind of like moving in chapters if you're doing it really strategically. And so I was like, that's interesting. I've never thought of it like that. And so I just planned my life sort of, in that way. So I did all my writing and all my recording up until I was about like 8 months pregnant.
Wow.
I finished some of my last shows around then. And then I sort of hibernated those first 3 months. And then I started dabbling back into like one-off shows where I'd only leave her for like a night and then I come back or, doing things. And then, it's kind of picked up since then. But I really want to show her that you can have it all and you don't have to choose. And obviously it takes a village. There's a lot of, help in different ways you get. And, I'm very grateful to have such a supportive husband and to have parents that help us. And we've got great babysitters and, all these different things. But I think, again, if there's a will, there's a way. You can figure it out. It might look a little different, but, you're that much like richer for it in everything you do. And I think it makes you a better artist. Like I've learned to prioritize better. I've learned to say no to things. Whereas otherwise I might be like, yes, no questions asked. Like, let's go. And now it's like, I want to say yes, but I have to really weigh, is this really worth it? For me professionally, from a career perspective, to be away from my family, to this, and like you have to weigh now it a little bit more. And so I actually think it makes you better and more focused because you can't just be here, there, and everywhere all the time.
Yes, but now you can kind of do a little bit more that she's not a baby.
Exactly.
Like I said, we have the show coming up in September.
Yeah.
When it comes to when you're out on the road or doing festival stops and stuff like that, is there like an item that you always need to have with you, whether that's a snack or a lucky piece of jewelry, something like that?
Good question. I would say, I mean, I'm just a big water drinker, which is like such a boring answer. But like, I mean, I love my wine. I love a little cocktail, I love a little something, But like, I don't touch that until after I'm done performing. So, I mean, for me, it's like having one of these to just stay hydrated. Yeah, it's like this is like my main thing. And then I will say I'm like a Wendy's girl on a show day. Don't ask me why. My friends make fun of me for this all the time. But just like a little bit of like some chicken nuggets and fries. Like nothing like too big. Like I'm not gonna go burger. I'm not gonna go whatever. But like I need something like a little bit of substance. Like I can't just like eat a salad and go on stage, That's like a fun fact is like I do enjoy a guilty pleasure of a fast food on like big show days.
And then yeah, you celebrate after.
You celebrate after. Oh, and believe me, I will. I will have my red wine. I will have a vodka soda. I'll have something.
When you were last in New York City, I feel like that was like maybe 2023 at this point. I went to the show and the afters, and I just remember your husband was like, here, all the drinks are on me. And I'm just like, okay. Yeah. And I just remember being so buzzed off of like espresso martinis, walking to the Ray's bar down the street, and then I met Justin Theroux at the bar.
So random.
It was like a crazy night.
I feel like we have a lot of those where people are like, at your show that one time, the craziest thing happened to me, like ever. I'm like, I love that for everyone. It's the sign of a good time. But no, we love our people. We love our friends. And, we want to just take care of the people that are like the supporters and the believers, the best we can. And, yeah, it's fun. But, I'll tell you, like, it's different now again that, like, mom life and dad life. The other day I had a show and he brought her and it was, like, fairly local to where I live. And so before I even left and, like, the show ended, once my thing with her was done, like, he took her and, like, brought her home. And we rotate who sleeps in on the weekends because she wakes up at 6 a.m. So I'll be like, all right, I got Saturday morning, you got Sunday, whatever. And so about a week ago I had a big show. And after the show, it was like, I came home and he's like, I'm going to get to bed because I'll get up with her. You can sleep in. I was like, oh. And so he went to bed and I sat on the couch. I'm not even joking. I sat on the couch. I watched the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader thing on Netflix. I made myself a margarita. And I literally, like, I made Mexican the other night, and I took out chips, and I baked them, like, in the oven, like, nachos. And when I tell you I sat on my couch with, like, a tray of freshly, like, baked nachos and a margarita, and I watched the Dallas Cowboy cheerleader show in, like, silence at 11:30 at night, midnight, I was just like, this is peak living.
Sometimes it's just the simple things that, really just set the tone and make things right.
Yeah, I was just like, this is exactly what the doctor ordered. Now I'm just like, I need some food. I just need like TV I can just like disconnect to. It was great.
Well, when you're thinking about what's next for you overall, where do you kind of hope to see your career in the next several years? Are there any dream collaborators on your list, dream bucket list like festivals or any kind of thing like that?
I've got 3 bucket list venues. I know everyone says Red Rocks. Red Rocks is just like so sick. I'd love to do that. The Jones Beach Theater on Long Island is like the massive outdoor amphitheater on the ocean that holds like 15,000 people. It's 15 minutes from my house. I grew up going to concerts there, so I think performing there would be full circle. And then Madison Square Garden, just because again, as a New Yorker, like that's my home, born and raised. So I think that would be the bucket list venues. I love Dan and Shay. I think Shay Mooney is one of the best vocalists in the world. And I think we're both like powerhouses with the big notes. So I think it'd be pretty fun to like wail on something together on stage. That would be a dream collab. And also like again, before I was an artist, like From the Ground Up was me and my husband's first dance song at our wedding. Like there's full circle moments there too, and I'd love to do something with them. And then I love careers like, look what Jennifer Nettles is doing. Now she's in this big show in New York, or, they're hoping it'll go to Broadway. And she started musicals. Like she's done Broadway before in various things. And I think with my acting background, it'd be pretty full circle to step into a Broadway show. And even like if some film or TV opportunities presented itself, I love the multifaceted performers. And I think And that some people know me as just this country artist, but not realize I have this background. That I think if there's a way to tie it all together, that would be just like the ultimate dream.
I'm sure there is. I feel like if it's already on your heart, then it's about making it happen next.
Totally.
Yeah.
Period. Period. Yes.
Well, I think this is the perfect note to end it on. Carolyn, this was amazing, and I'm so excited for people to hear your new EP out on August 21st.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. You're the best.
Of course, anytime. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for watching this week's video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this from me, Dory Jackson. Bye for now.